Hi. One of the main reasons I started making YouTube clips was because there's a lot of misrepresentations, bad press, misunderstandings, misconceptions, and sometimes even outright lies about religion in general and Christianity in particular. The new atheists especially are the avowed enemies of all things religious. They think all religion is poisonous, all religion is an illusion, and all religion needs to be wiped off the face of the earth. By the new atheists, I mean people like Sam Harris, Richard Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens, Daniel Dennett, Lawrence Krauss, and so on, who started a very militant and aggressive and public attack against all things religious, especially after the events of September 11. What I want to do in this series of videos called Why Atheism is Wrong, I want to counter some of their most common arguments. I think if Christianity cannot counter these arguments, then it cannot make the claim to ultimate truth that it makes about itself. So in these series of videos, I want to look at some of these arguments. Before I begin, I want to make some general claims about atheism. Firstly, I do not think atheism or all atheists are going to hell. I believe if somebody is sincere, if somebody is following their conscience, and if somebody is following the truth as they understand that truth to be, then they will be accepted into God's kingdom. So if you are a good Muslim, if you're a good Jew, if you're a good Buddhist, or if you're a good atheist, you will be accepted into God's kingdom. And this follows on the basis that God is a God of love. And if God is a God of love, He's not going to turn away anybody who was sincerely following the truth as they understand that truth to be. I guess up front I want to own my bias. I am a Catholic and I speak out of the Catholic tradition, tradition which I think goes back 2,000 years to the person of Jesus of Nazareth, and a tradition which I believe has some very good alternative answers to the criticisms made against it by the new atheists. Another thing about atheists and atheism I want to say is that I don't think that only religious people can be moral or good. Many atheists I know are very thoughtful, very kind, generous people. Many religious people I know are very judgmental and cruel. So I just do not want to play that black and white, good guy versus bad guy game. I'm just not interested in that kind of approach. The next thing I want to say about atheism is that I think the new atheism is doing a lot of good in its criticisms of religion. Jesus was critical of the religion of his own time. The prophets were critical of the Judaism of their own time. So there's nothing wrong with being critical about religion. It goes back to the beginning. I think what the atheists think, however, is that when they place the blowtorch of logic and reason onto religion, there'll be nothing left but ashes. And this is where I fundamentally disagree. I think, yes, place the blowtorch of logic and reason upon religion. Let a lot of the rubbish that surrounds religion be burnt away, the oppression, the irrationality, the violence, the illusions. But I believe that what will remain is the gold of good, mature, positive religion. And this is one of my fundamental points. You see, the problem with a lot of the new atheism is that it is very fanatical in its approach. The new atheists can be just as judgmental, just as blinkered, just as prejudiced, just as condescending as any fundamentalist evangelical fanatic. They're just doing it now with atheism. And in their fanatical approach, in their black and white approach, they want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. They think all religion is just bathwater and needs to be let down the drain of history. Whereas I would argue very strongly that yes, there is bathwater, and that should be let down the drain pipe of history. But however, there is a baby, and that baby is precious, and that baby is healthy religion, which is, I think, beneficial for humanity, and which can lead humanity into a bigger, brighter future. Let me give you some examples of how the new atheists are very black and white and fanatical in their approach. For example, they'll say things like, if you raise your children religious, you are a child abuser. Well, I've tried to raise my children with religious viewpoints. I've been a high school religion teacher for over 20 years, so that makes me a serial child abuser. Well, there you go. Christopher Hitchens, for example, made very strong criticisms against Mother Teresa because he didn't agree with her viewpoints on, say, contraception and abortion. He didn't agree with the way she did some things. He wrote her off completely as this evil, manipulative, delusional woman. He did not take into account all the good that she did. He did not take into account that her fundamental life was dedicated to the service of the poor and the suffering. All that was forgotten. And that's the problem with the new atheists. They'll focus on the negative and judge it all religion as negative, and they deny the good. If I did that with the police force, if I said we should get rid of the police force because there's some corrupt and violent police, I would be obviously wrong. Or if I did that with the institution of marriage and the family, if I said we should get rid of the institutions of marriage and the family because there are abusive parents and abusive husbands, therefore we should get rid of all marriage, I would obviously be wrong. The new atheists take this approach. Their theology is very poor, is very limited. Their understanding of religion, they'll focus on the negative, and therefore they'll want to get rid of everything. So what they've done, they've divided the world into saints and sinners. Their saints are the rational, scientific, logical atheists, and their sinners are the dumb, irrational, ignorant, religious people. The world just doesn't need that kind of fanatical approach. Yes, be critical. Yes, disagree, but you can still be respectful. A teacher can criticize my child for misbehaving at school, but a teacher cannot spit in my child's face for misbehaving. And the approach that a lot of these new atheists will take is very mocking, very condescending. It's the spit in your face type of approach. The world needs less of that, not more of that. So in this series of videos, I want to look at some of the most common arguments made against religion in general and Christianity in particular. And I want to look at the alternatives that Christianity offers. An alternative which basically says that you're on this planet to love God and to love other people, to serve God, not to serve yourself. Thank you for listening.